Data analysis with graphs. So we're going to look at a variety of different ways to illustrate data. First, we'll do frequency tables and diagrams. So in the grayed out area are the sums of the two numbers from 50 rolls of a pair of standard dice. We're going to use a frequency table to organize the data, figure out any trends or patterns, then use a graph, and then create a cumulative frequency table and graph for the data. And then we're going to figure out what proportion of the data has a value of 6 or less. Back to the table, you'll see it occurs once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And if you scan through, I believe I've caught them all, so it's 4 times in. So a frequency table is a simple tally of the frequency of each value. So a sum of 2 occurs 4 times within the table. So if I the table, and similarly 3 occurs twice, 4 occurs 3 times, and so on and so on. The table does reveal a pattern that was not obvious from the raw data, and from the frequency table, notice that the middle values tend to be the most frequent, while the high and low values are much less frequent. And now for the same data, we're going to create a bar graph or a frequency polygon, and this makes the data even more apparent. You can also superimpose the frequency polygon on top of the bar graph. So when we're looking at cumulative frequency, what we're saying is 2 occurs 4 times, 3 occurs twice. So cumulatively, now 3 and 2 occur 6 times. The same can be said now if you're adding 4. 2, 3, and 4, when you total those all up, add up to 9. And this becomes a cumulative frequency chart. And you can see then that it grows from a very small amount to the grand total. It never dips down, okay, when we're talking about cumulative frequency, about straight raw data and collecting the sum of the pieces of data. And now you can see that 26 of the 30 outcomes had a value of 6 or less. So if you look at number 6 and we tally them all up, you can quickly see that the answer to that question is 26. Now, relative frequency distribution. Here's an example: class scores obtained on a data management examination. And we will do similar activities. We'll construct a frequency table that includes this time a column for relative frequency, a histogram and a frequency polygon, a relative frequency histogram and a relative frequency polygon. And then we're going to answer the question, what proportion of the students had marks between 70 and 79? So here we go. The highest and lowest scores were 39 and 96, which is a range of 57%. And you have to bin this information. So looking at that range, an interval width of 5 would be convenient. So we're going to start down here at 34.5 and keep going until we've gotten all the way up to a bin that includes the highest value of 96%. Now we have our tallies and our frequencies, and the relative frequency is frequency divided by total data points. And there it is for each one. Okay, now we take this information and create a frequency polygon, and that can be imposed or superimposed onto the same grid as the histogram. So here's our frequency polygon in red, and then our histogram in blue. a very nice illustration of the data that we've collected. And here we go, comparing the two, the histogram frequency polygon and the relative frequency. You can see by looking at these charts that they're identical to the eye. The only difference will be that the y-axis for the relative frequency is different. And now categorical data. Here's a table showing Canadians' primary use of the internet in 1999. And we're going to illustrate this information with a circle graph and a pictograph. The circle graph, you simply take all the percentages and slice up a circle appropriately. Really easy to see. And then a pictograph illustrates it in fractions of a whole computer. And again, really easy to see where the most use comes from. Thanks for listening.